Good day. This week we've been looking at 5 ways to activate your faith, or 5 ways to persuade your heart. And I want to leave you with something this morning. It's Friday morning, something for you to ponder on. And my last key is that one of the ways to activate your heart, or one of the ways to activate your faith, is you've got to do it. You know, like that Nike ad, just do it. See, when I'm convinced of something, when I'm persuaded of something, when it actually affects my identity, then I'm going to live according to that. And so the more my heart gets persuaded of my righteousness, I begin to live from that place of righteousness. The more my heart is persuaded that I am blessed and prosperous, then I begin to live that way. The more my heart is persuaded that I am healed, I begin to live like I am healed. So I'm not trying to get healed. I'm no resisting sickness because I believe that I am healed. And there's just something so powerful when you put faith with action. I want to read James chapter 2 out of the Message Bible, because I think one of the longest journeys we can take is from our head to our heart. And listen to what it says from verse 14 in James 2. It says, "Dear friends, do you think you'll get anywhere in this if you learn all the right words but never do anything? Does merely talking about faith indicate that a person really has it? For instance, you come upon an old friend dressed in rags and half-starved and say, 'Good morning, friend, be clothed in Christ, be filled with the Spirit,' and walk off without providing so much as a coat or a cup of soup. Where does that get you? Isn't it obvious that God talk without God acts is outrageous nonsense? I can already hear one of you agreeing by saying, 'Sounds good. You take care of the faith department. I'll handle the works department.' Not so fast. You can no more show me your works apart from your faith than I can show you my faith apart from my works. Faith and works, works and faith, fit together hand in glove." That's the encouragement. When you begin to persuade your heart, when you are activating faith, when you are demonstrating to your heart, "I believe this," you've got to put action with it. You know, I remember a time in our ministry in Johannesburg, there were times, man, I didn't know how we were going to pay the bills. So I told our Minister of Finances, who is Dee, my wife at the time, let's just give our money away. Let's just sow it, because we don't have enough to meet our needs. So let's just sow it and demonstrate and show our hearts and activate our hearts that we have more than enough. That because we have more than enough, we can be generous. And there were times we would give all of our money away and see God's hand of provision. Not that we were trying to manipulate God. No, our hearts expanded where we believed that we were generous and prosperous and blessed, and began to see that in fulfillment because our hearts began to believe it. But we had to put some action with our faith. We had to do something to activate our hearts. Remember, we are not doing this to persuade God. We are not doing this to try and get God to give us anything. No, God's already given us everything. By grace, He's provided everything. But there are certain things that I can do to activate my heart, to persuade my heart of what God has already given me. And one of those ways is to start living according to what you are believing. That's when there's congruence in your heart and your mind, because your heart begins to feel like it's true because you're taking action steps. And if you can feel it in your heart, you can keep it. If you can feel what it feels like to be blessed, you can keep it. If you can feel what it feels like to be loved, you can keep it. And that is why it's so important when you put action steps with what you're believing, you actually begin to feel like it's a reality. And it's a key ingredient in activating your heart, in activating faith, to persuade your heart of what you have. Always remember, you are highly favored and deeply loved of God.